Well, hello there, everyone, and welcome back to The Pitch. This is the show where we talk about wiffle My name is Brock Johnson, and I am joined, as always, by the Executive Commissioner of the League, Cale Johnson.
What's going on, guys? We had a lot of news this weekend in the JL. Sometimes, some weeks we don't, and me and Brock scramble to put things on this. But this week was kind of jam-packed, wasn't it, Brock?
Yeah, it was. There might be a few things that we don't get to today, but we'll talk about. But the first thing that we're going to hit today, our first topic, is going to be the JL 13 date and logo is done. And since, Cale, you decided the date and you created the logo, I'm going to let you tell the people about it.
Okay. JL 13 is on June 18th, as I'm sure most all of you are aware now after that releasement of it yesterday. That was the date that worked best for everyone, and so it's on a Saturday. We'll probably start it around, in the early afternoon. That's the goal, at least. The logo. Okay, I had some people ask me, "What's the 3-4 on the logo?" If you haven't seen it,
I was one of those people, by the way.
Okay.
But
well, if you haven't seen the logo, here it is real quick on the screen. And the 1-3 is for 13, guys. Come on. JL 13, and then the 1 year. It's not that hard to figure out. But anyway, the rest of the details about JL 13 will be coming out the location will be coming out within the next couple weeks, hopefully. As soon as me and Brock get that nailed down, we've got a few ideas. And then the last piece, really, the last important piece would be the schedule with all the matchups and the time slots and all that. And we're finalizing that right now, and we hope that we're going to have that finalized within the next few days, but it won't be released until the end of the month. We like to build up hype, don't we, Brock?
Yeah, we do. And you know what? Once you explained to me what the logo actually was, I actually liked it a lot. So that looks cool. I'm excited about this tournament. It's cool that, every tournament is kind of unique with its logo and location, and so we'll have that stuff coming out. Now, like I said, we won't get to everything. One thing that happened that I'm sure you guys have seen is Kyle Koopman got his own team, the Anaheim Storm, and we interviewed him, me and Cale, and asked him kind of what the whole process was of that and what he's wanting to do going forward. So, but we can't talk about that today because it's jam-packed. So if you want to check that out, it's on our Facebook and YouTube. So go check that out. All right,
It's just a franchise introduction video. It's the one that was, it's on our channel right before this if you missed it, but
yeah, go check it out. See what Coop's got to say about the league. All right, moving forward now, we're going to talk about some signings that happened this week, and there were two, and they were kind of big actually. One of them was Bryce Desarmo to your team, the Cobras. He's still a high school player, obviously, so he's on a high school contract. So that was one of them, and he's on your team. So do you want me to start or?
Yeah, you can. I'm interested to hear what your take was. We didn't really get a chance to talk about this yet, actually, for some reason.
Right. So my personal take on this is your team so far, before you signed Bryce, was you, good hitter, and you play in the field because you have to. Michael Sullivan, who will be back for JL 13, who's a good pitcher, a very good pitcher, and a good hitter as well, and Kevin Johnson, our dad, who is also a pretty good pitcher and a pretty good hitter. So what I see in this signing is not much more than just trying to fill the role of a fielder. Because you have been on the show many times saying yourself that you are a lazy fielder.
I am.
Yeah.
I'm a lazy fielder. And I take pride in my laziness out there in the field.
It's true. I agree with it. I think most people probably agree with it. So to me, that is really... because Bryce really isn't that good of a hitter. So to me, you only got him to fill that fielding role. Is there any other reason that you guys signed him than that?
No, that's exactly why we signed him. It's what me and Erica talked about. We were like, we're solid at every like position, pitching, hitting, even relief pitching if we need it. The only thing we don't have that's any like good is fielding. And so we had ever since the last, well, we haven't been solid because I've been playing the field for the last 3 tournaments. So we haven't been solid in the field for a while. And so finally after this tournament, we were like, we got to get a fielder. And we nailed down, we had 4 different options we were looking at. We were looking at Bryce. We were looking at Will Dolan. We looked into Nick Proudfit. And we looked into, who was the last one? Maybe there was only 3. I think there was only 3, actually. It was those 3. Oh, did I say Josh Ball?
No.
Okay, Josh Ball was the 4th one. And we ultimately went with Bryce because we knew whoever we picked wasn't going to bat the lineup. And we thought Bryce was the best fielder out of them, and he's on the high school contract, so he's free, so he doesn't cost any money. So that's ultimately why we went with.
I agree. Yeah, I agree. I think it's a good sign for you guys. You could definitely improve in that area of your guys' team, and like you said, he's free, so he doesn't cost any money against your salary cap. Now, we're gonna move on to the next guy now, and he's one of the guys that you said that your team was thinking about signing, and he was signed by Kyle Koopman. He's excited about this league. He's already going to work on his team, but he signed Nick Proudfit. One of the guys you said, he signed him to a $1 one tournament contract. So he's not showing a lot of faith in him, but I think it's a pretty good sign because if you watch that interview, he said that he didn't think there was a lot in the free agency right now, and I tend to agree with him there. But I thought from what I saw in JL12, Nick was a pretty good player. He bats pretty well. He's a pretty good fielder. They'll still need a pitcher, but I didn't think it was a bad sign, especially for his first sign going into his first tournament. What do you think?
I think that Nick is not an all-star player, but a good, solid player based on what I saw of him and played against him in JL 12. He's definitely worth more than the $1. He should have got more out of him, more out of Coop than that. I think that's, huh?
I agree.
I mean,
it's kind of how Coop's
come on, Nick. You're better than that. Come on. But this is interesting because I know the Rapids, the team he was on, they were Julie, our mom, who's the owner of that team, was like, she knew she's having Sean coming back, and it's time Sean. She didn't know if she wanted to re-sign Nick to the team, and she wasn't making up her mind. She was just like taking too long on it, and ultimately that decision didn't get to be like, in her control, like whether or not she was going to bring him back to the Rapids. It just like he got taken. So,
yeah. Yeah, I know. And that's partly because, like I said, Coop, he's just really into this right now. So he's trying to go to work early and see what he can come up with for this first tournament.
But I tell you what, I think, one of the biggest reasons he got Nick leads into what we're about to talk about right now.
Yes, we are, and that's a great transition. Thank you, Kale. Our next topic that we're going to talk about is titled Trades Coming with a question mark. So this is basically in the last couple days, trades really haven't been a big thing in this league so far. There's only been one, right, Kale? And
There's only been one trade in the history of the JL. It was way back prior to JL, what was it, 9, I think, and it was Bryce DeZarmo being traded from the Casper Rock Rapids to the Columbia Bison in exchange for cash. That was it. That's all that has ever happened trade-wise in this league.
Right. So, obviously, it hasn't been a big thing, but randomly in this last week, there has been an explosion of trade talk going on between multiple teams, a handful actually, Kale, why don't you tell us,
Well,
elaborate?
this is something that's so fun about our job, isn't it, Brock? Like, we play the middleman, because we're commissioners of the league. So we get to basically hear everything that comes, like, that's being passed around. And we will say that our policy with this is that, if the owners don't want this to be shared publicly, then it's off the record and we will not talk about it. And so, unfortunately for this segment, we can't give you all the details of what is going on, but we can tell you that there are 5 teams right now, that's 50% of the league, have players that they are shopping on the market. And this started like 2-3 days ago. And you know what, Brock? I think it all started because Kyle Koopman, with his new team, the Storm, he's kind of been the instigator of all this like free agency back and forth talk between owners that is going on right now.
Yeah, I mean, I agree, especially if when we interviewed him, he said he wanted to be the first team to win 3 championships back to back to back. So he's definitely got to build a pretty good team if he wants to do that. And he's trying to get after it early so he can get those players, and before JL13 comes close. And I think he's obviously he's stirring up stuff right now, so I think he's doing what he wants to right now, at least going into this first tournament.
Well, let me tell you this. I think this is the reason why all this buzz with trades has started, is because the free agency market the next offseason is not that good. It's it's very below average from what it normally is. And Kyle is a new team, and so he's like, he doesn't want to hand pick into that market right now. He's trying to like acquire players. That's why he's kind of the instigator of the whole thing, and he's talking to other teams, and that has sparked other teams to talk to other teams. And I have literally heard like 3-way trades proposed over the next couple days, in which like Team A would send a player or 2 or cash or something to Team B, and B to C, and C back to A. And so there's just wild things I've heard. But I think that is one of the reasons why. And then the other big reason why is a lot of players in the league, Brock, as you know, only have 1 tournament left on their contract. So a lot of these owners are worried that they're not going to be able to keep these players that are on their team. They'll be able to re-sign them after their contract expires. They're worried about that, so they're thinking, wow, maybe I should just shop them now and get something in return before I just lose them for nothing. And it's risky, but I think those are the 2 big reasons for all this buzz, don't you think?
Yeah, I mean, I agree 100%, because I was actually looking through the teams today, and I wrote down a little list to kind of refresh my mind, and almost all of the players on here have only 1 tournament left on their contract. So like you said, I can see why Kyle's trying to shop other teams to get his players next off season. Boy, that'll be interesting.
Well, let me ask you this, Brock. We can't talk about the details of some of these trades.
Right.
We can tell you this though: if your name isn't Kyle Godinho, you're not safe right now on the team you're on.
Yeah, it's about right.
I mean, almost everyone else's name from these owners has been like brought up. It's crazy. But let me ask you this, Brock. We know that there's not a strong history of trading in the JL, but there is this big buzz now. Do you think that anything is going to actually end up going down trade-wise?
Oh, yeah. I mean,
you do?
Absolutely. Oh, yeah.
You think just 1 trade or multiple trades, and how big of a trade do you think it would be?
No, I think there will be at least more than 1. I mean, it might only be 2 or 3, but I think there will be more than 1 before 13. And because I've never heard this much stir going around the JL before. It's exciting to actually have going on and talk about. But I absolutely believe that there will be more than one trade, and I think it will be. Is it going to be like a Chris Paul to the Lakers or something of that size? Maybe not, but I think it'll be substantial where it can actually someone moving to another team, from team A to team B can actually make team B a contender to, make the national or American Conference playoffs and maybe the winner chicken dinner cup playoffs.
All right. Well, let's move on to the final part of this show, Brock, and that is we said last week we're going to have Kyle Godinho on the show live with us. Unfortunately, some scheduling things didn't work out to where he could be live on the show with us, but we still got a chance to interview him, and we're going to show it to you right here. Brock, with the scheduling things, you weren't able to be there for the interview that I did with him, but I asked him the questions you wanted me to, and we've got the clip right here. So, guys, go ahead and take a look. All right, our first question is, this one's from Brock. He wants to know, in the American Conference Finals, when you guys were losing to the Lynx in the fourth inning, how nervous were you on a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being very nervous?
In the moment, I honestly wasn't really that nervous because I felt like we were hitting him. He doesn't throw hard, but it's deceiving because that one, it starts above your head, then hits top of the strike zone. So we're like, all right, we'll catch on to it as the innings go. And I wasn't worried because Tate was on fire hitting, and Brad, I know he can flat out hit the ball, and I can pick the pitches. I could walk or I could get a base hit. So we were hitting him, but we're hitting him foul. We weren't really striking out as much, so I wasn't really worried.
You were nervous from the offensive perspective.
Yeah. No, I wasn't worried for myself. No.
They were putting up points on you, though, more than anyone else did in the tournament. Was that aspect making you a little nervous?
Yeah. I mean, they got one hit, but it hit off his hands and, slingshot off the bat. So I was like, granted, he hit it, but I wasn't worried about him doing it again. I challenged him with a fastball. I never threw him junk compared to, facing you and your dad. I mixed up my pitches, obviously, a lot more. So he proved that he could hit a fastball. So next time there won't be a fastball as many.
All right, let's move on to my question here for you, and mine is somewhat related. I want to know, in the American Conference, there's you guys who are clearly the best. Then we got the Lynx, and who are good too, and then the Bambinos are kind of on the rise. We kind of think they're going to be good. And then, the Fog, they went 0-3. They're not really a threat to you guys, and we have no idea what this new team, the Wrecking Crew, is going to bring to the table. So between the Lynx and the Bambinos, which team do you think is more of a threat to you guys?
I would say, no disrespect to Lynx, but the Bambinos. They're if they figure out how to use their team a little better, I think they can be tough. I think I know what I'm talking about.
Yeah. Is that putting Nate into the starting role?
Yeah, he's we grew up together playing wiffle, so I know what him and Brad bring to the table. So Nate's a tough pitcher, and even as a hitter, he knows my pitches. I know his pitches because we learn from the same people. So yeah, definitely in the Bambinos, and they hit well. Tyler Traver, he makes contact with the ball. He's a good hitter as well.
Does this new team, the Wrecking Crew in your conference, does that worry you at all? Just because we have no idea what to expect from them?
Not really. I don't think they grew up playing wiffle ball like us around here did. You never know. I don't know. No, I'm not really too concerned. I don't think they're going to be as good as the Express were coming out of the gate, but who knows? They could have some dark horses.
All right, Brock wants to have this clarified finally. There's been a lot of, it's basically been a lot of rumors. You told me at the end of JL 12, you're like, I think I might want to be the highest paid player in the game. We didn't really know if that was off the record or not, so we kind of hinted at it. It's just been a big rumor, and Brock wants to know for sure. Do you want to be the highest paid player in the JL? You certainly deserve it.
That's what I'm saying. I think I deserve it, but I do like winning more. But I might take the LeBron approach on this, or I may not. I might leave you guys hanging. It'd be nice to be the best and the highest paid, but it necessarily doesn't have to happen. It's about the rings.
All right, you mean the plates? The plates.
Plates, yes. The the plates and the trophies.
Plates and the trophies. All right, and that kind of ties into my last question here, which is, for anyone that doesn't know, the CBA, the collective bargaining agreement, it expires in November. So we're going to have this upcoming tournament, JL 13, in like a couple months, and then we'll probably have another one in the summer, and we might have one in the fall. So there'll be at least 2, maybe 3 more tournaments before the CBA expires. And one big thing with the CBA is a lot of people are like, gee, I don't know if we want to keep the salary cap around. Maybe we should just go back to having there be no cap, and you can pay players and in your team's payroll as much as you want. And so because of that, we're thinking, well, Kyle might be thinking about this, and we could see him signing, instead of a longer term deal, a short term, just like two tournament deal, to make sure that if the cap does in fact go away, then he could potentially make a lot of money. Because I'm not kidding, I think some of these owners in this league might pay you like $20-30 for just one tournament just because they want to win so bad. So are you going to take that into account when you sign this next contract after JL 13?
I don't know. It could be interesting because I'm sure there's owners with deep pockets, but it's still a game. I mean, it'd be cool to have some for that to happen. It'd be interesting. I feel like I could get $20 or something like that. But
what we're saying is, if a team was like, Kyle, 5 tournaments, $12 each tournament, which $12 is a lot right now because of the cap. But if there was no cap, you could obviously make way more. So you might be like, well, let's lower that down to like 2 tournaments. So in case when this new CBA comes around, I can get a better deal.
Yeah, I might take that in, especially if the young owners are willing to do that. It doesn't really hurt their team at all. I mean, it benefit them. I can make it through the 2 games, and then you can keep a good team together if you're willing to pay.
All right, that was Kyle Godinho. We really appreciate him being on.
All right, there you go, people. That was a good interview. Man, I really wish I was there. I was actually looking forward to that one quite a bit. But and I probably would have asked some add-on questions based on his answers there, but I'll catch him another time and ask him later. So that's it for our segment today, or our episode today. Thank you guys as always for joining us, and if you want to find us, you can find us on Facebook, you can find us on Twitter and Instagram at JAL_wiffleball, and on Snapchat at JAL-wiffleball, and we will see you guys next time.